Good evening. My name is Isaac Hall, and this is my discussion post for health law and bioethics. So today's topic is going to be social media and negligence. So we're going to be going over a case involving Meta and YouTube, and also a couple of teenagers that were bullied online. So right off the bat, it asks, what are your thoughts on the case and its outcome? I think that it was wrong, and I don't think that it was necessarily Meta's fault or YouTube's fault that children are getting bullied online by other children. I think it starts at home, and I think that the mom and dad should have more restrictions on their children. There are already restrictions on Meta and YouTube and any other social media platform asking for your age to verify, and I think the minimum age has to be, I don't think you can be under 13 or something like that, because it's always been there. When you create the account and it asks you for your age and how old you are, I don't think an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old should be able to spend hours upon hours on these social media platforms. We know these platforms have been created to get engagement. We know these platforms are created to get money from the advertisers. That's where a bulk of their money comes from, as far as how they generate revenue. And we know that it can be somewhat addicting because you want to see the new trend, the new TikTok dance, and the new trend on Instagram and Facebook, whatever it may be. Do I disagree with the court's decision? Yes, I don't think this person should have been awarded $6 million. Again, excuse me, I don't mean to sound like a jerk. I don't mean to sound like someone that, lacks empathy. I don't mean to sound like someone that isn't sensitive to the issue. I completely understand it. But what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily think it's the fault of the platform that this person was bullied. I don't think it's the fault of the platform that this person began to feel like her body image was messed up because of all the other nice bodies that she's seen online. Why is someone your age spending hours upon hours on this platform? Why aren't you out playing outside? Why aren't you playing with toys? Why aren't you hanging out with your friends, going to their house, or being with your mom and dad, or doing your chores, or doing homework, or playing some type of sport? Why are you spending hours and hours on this platform? I don't think that's the fault of the platform itself. I think the parents, again, should have more of a relationship with their child and make restrictions. So no, I disagree. I don't think that she should have been awarded that amount of money. I don't think that is the fault of the platform. To what extent, if any, should parents share responsibility? I think parents should share a ton of responsibility. You're in my house. You're not going to have social media until you get, this age or this age. And when you have social media, I'm going to be in charge of it. I'm going to see who you're following. I'm going to see the posts that you're making. I'm going to see the things that you're liking. I'm going to see your stories. I'm going to see everything, because I'm your dad, so I'm going to be on top of that. You're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to embarrass yourself. You're not going to embarrass the last name that's on your back. That's how I was raised. Facebook came out in 2006. In 2006, I was already 21 years old. So obviously I was grown at that time. I was beyond that. But if I was a kid, there's no way my parents would have allowed me to have any type of platform like that until probably when I was 16, 17 years old. And then even at that, they're going to be watching me. They're going to be seeing what I'm doing, because that's what they're supposed to do. I think kids get way too much freedom to do whatever they want, and that's why they end up going off on the deep end. And then their parents are like, oh, well, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. Why don't you know? That's your kid. Are there broader implications for technology companies, users, and society? I think that when it comes to a case like this, it's just going to be a domino effect. Now TikTok's going to have a lawsuit. Now Snapchat's going to have a lawsuit. Now all these other platforms are going to have a lawsuit, and they're probably going to settle because they don't want to have to dish out so much money to this person, because he got bullied, he got picked on, he got addicted to social media. She doesn't feel good about her body because she sees all these nice people with nice bodies. How is that the fault of the platform? That's what I don't understand. It's not the fault. Going into this platform, going into utilizing this platform, you're going to see things like that. So just because you have a bad experience doesn't mean that you can utilize them and blame them for what you went through. They just created the platform. They can't control who's on there. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. I would be upset if my kid got picked on. I would be upset if my kid dealt with such situations, but I would also understand that's what the platform is. You have all types of people utilizing these platforms. You don't know what you're going to deal with. That's why you need to be a little bit more emotional mature, mental mature before you utilize something like this. I disagree with it. And the last thing I want to say is, like I said, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but the last thing I want to say is just to make another example of it not being the platform's fault or the company's fault. If I drive the new 2027 Range Rover and I meet Dr. Weaver at, I don't know, let's say Capitol Grill, and he and I are celebrating because I just got done with the last 17 months of grad school, and now because of the relationship I have with him, I'm able to leverage that relationship. Now he has me at a great job at a hospital doing physiotherapy or whatever it may be, so we're celebrating. I've had 6 drinks. I decided to drive home in my Range Rover. I end up getting into a car accident, and I end up breaking my back and hurting another driver in the process. That's not Range Rover's fault that I had 6 drinks and I got into an accident. I'm the one that had those drinks, right? So how can I sue Range Rover for something that I did? It doesn't make any sense. That's why I don't understand the logic behind it. You got on social media. Your plan was to engage because these platforms are created for engagement. You may have been engaged in a negative way, but that's what social media is. So you can't get upset and blame the creator because you had a bad experience. Again, I don't mean to be insensitive. I'm not trying to be like that. We're all followers of Christ. We all have a great relationship with him above. I don't agree with this, and I don't think that they should have been utilized as the bad guy or the bad company because of the experiences of these children. I think that the parents should be more in line with seeing what their kids are doing, be more on top of that, and a lot of this could have been prevented. But that's just my take. This was a very interesting case study, and I appreciate your time. Thank you, Dr. Weaver.